Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we're talking about Oathbringer, interludes 4, 5, and 6, and chapter 58 and 59, wherein we meet Kaza for a short amount of time. She's kind of an interesting, smoky person, and then tragically, everybody in the story dies, so that's kind of sad. Then we move on to Taravangian doing some super smart, but also slightly crazy, a little more than slightly crazy stuff. And then we go back to Venli, who's going through some changes, possibly changes of heart, but definitely some physical transformation, leading to some interesting things about how the fused and the Parshendi work. Then we go over to Dalinar, who finally goes to Thelena, meets Queen Fen, has an argument with her son, gets stabbed in the chest, but he's fine because, Stormlight. And then kind of figures out a new way to be peaceful with the other kingdoms. I'm Joe, and with me today is...
Jack?
And Data. No Jaymee.
Yeah, no Jaymee today. She'll be back. Hold on to something, everyone. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the fallen rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together now.
So yeah, 5 chapters this time. What did you guys think of? And the interludes are always kind of, crapshoot, right? So 3 new interludes and a couple chapters. What did you guys think of these 5 chapters?
They're alright. I feel like all 3 of the interludes, when they started, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm feeling this. But by the end, I'm like, alright, I'm invested in this. Especially the first one, just because that was the only one with a new character. I'm just like, alright, where the hell are we now? Like, okay, there's definitely some power there because, hey, this is our first main series, explicit encounter with these, multiform crab people things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are they the listeners? No.
The Sleepless.
Sleepless, that's right. I remember Arklo's name, but I can't remember what species he was.
They're also Aimians, one of the 2 kinds of Aimians. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we were told both of those names for them.
Yes, I forgot about that bit. Man, it's a lot to keep
it
straight
is, right?
in your head.
These giant books that we're reading.
Yeah, but it was fun. I feel really bad for Kaza. It sounds like she had. It doesn't seem like anyone on Roshar really is having a good time of it, but her existence seemed especially shitty. She didn't deserve that. And then she finally found something. It's like, maybe I can have a normal life. And then Crabmate just went, nah, fuck that. So, yeah, that was a whole thing. Taravangian, interesting, because really it's only the second time we've seen inside his head, but this is the first time we see him at his, most deliciously evil, and just giving shit to his underlings, and trying to find ways around them so that they won't get in his way, even though he specifically set up the tasks to prevent that. It's like, man, we talked about how, Shallan and her burgeoning personas are just sort of undermining her own life. I feel like Taravangian's got that tenfold at this point, because every damn day with this guy it's something different. But he's also a bad guy, so whatever. But that was interesting, just seeing more into his head. And I know we talked about it last time, but we're seeing more of, okay, this is what he wants. He knows that you can't defeat Odium, so he's trying to find some way to just come out on top in this situation. He's reminding me of the Lord Ruler at this point, which is not a good comparison because Rashek, fucking dick.
Yep.
I don't give a shit what they said in Hero of Ages. He was not a good dude. But it's an interesting perspective because we ultimately didn't really see that much of Rashek, so it's kind of cool that we get this sort of counterpoint to him, and we're getting a lot more invested in his head and his motivations in his mind. So that's cool. And the Venli one, again, interesting. I was like, I just don't really like Venli as a character that much. But then again, she's just someone motivated by desperation who's done awful things. So, that's most of the characters in Stormlight at this point. But it was very interesting when it seemed like, oh, she was meant to be possessed by the ancient, the the ringleaders of the Voidbringers is what it seems like. But then Odium himself got involved and said, no, I got plans for this one. I'm like, well, that's fucking ominous. So, yeah, interesting. And then the chapters we go to Thaylena, and it's like, all right, this is cool. Dalinar the diplomat was interesting, like just going the Barbossa route and getting stabbed and just like allowing himself to be stabbed to prove a point. Like, all right, that's kind of cool, I guess. But I really loved it when he starts using his powers to repair things. I'm like, cool. I've been waiting for that ever since we've seen like in his flashbacks, like the dude who made the rocks ripple, and Stormfather said, oh yeah, you can sort of do something like that. I'm like, I need to know. So yeah, that makes total sense, Bondsmith. Yeah, no, interesting chapters, but I am at the point it's like, all right, I need wheels to spin a bit faster now here. Let's keep the train moving.
Fair. Yeah, Dalinar diplomacy involving a sword through the body isn't, I guess, terribly shocking, but
no, like badass moment, but it's like, yeah, right, that went about as there was only one way that could have gone.
At least he realized, like in the moment, like, oh yeah, this probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, it did what I wanted it to do, but now I kind of feel like shit about it because this isn't what I want to be.
Yeah, well, and he thinks about it at some point. It's like, why is it every time I have to prove a point to someone who involves me getting in the ring with them?
Yeah, I mean, he's still developing as a person from that guy that we saw in the flashbacks.
Yeah,
it's a long road.
Well, at least
from there to here.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is he's no longer heard their cut my steak.
It's true.
Sweet Star Trek reference there.
But also I like what you were saying about Taravangian, because it's it's just his whole deal is so weird. And I like the comparison to Lord Ruler. I don't think I'd ever thought about it that way before, but it's an interesting parallel. And you're also right that it's like we're seeing him more than we ever saw Rashek. So it's like getting a glimpse into that mind that we didn't see way back when, because I guess at least some of what we're trying to do here is very similar. The thought behind it, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved that first interlude with the new character Kaza. I was like, man, I could read a whole book on like this mysterious island with these sleepless creatures and the magic of the treasure there and all that stuff. That was just a really interesting interlude. I'd love to know more about that place. Maybe we'll get there someday. But be a cool place for a short story if there's nothing super canon in the main storyline about it. But it was a really fun read. It was a little sad. Kaza obviously has some stuff going on. And that's one of those things we can kind of get into it a little later, but like some of the stuff that was going on with her using the Soulcaster, I'm like, is that normal? So we can get into that a little bit later. I'm gonna ask that question. But anyway, great first interlude. I really enjoyed it. The Taravangian, super smart yet crazy thing, also a fun read. Taravangian, like I think my favorite part is not only did he berate his underlings, but then the one underling has to have the insult explained to him, and so that just really tickled me. That it's like, yeah, he's so intelligent that his insults have to be explained. Thought that was.
I mean, we've all been there, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it is probably also a distraction technique. He's like, okay, I'm going to make an insult that they have to figure out what it means, because while they're busy figuring it out, they're not talking to me.
Right, exactly. And I could do my thing. And then the Venli stuff, yeah, again, this was interesting, but I felt like I needed more, right? Like Kaza, I got at least an ending to her story. Like she died, I guess. And it kind of left this shroud of mystery over this island and what could possibly be there. And we saw the Sleepless. And, if we hadn't read the short story with Lift and we saw this creature and we just read this interlude, I'd be like, whoa, what the heck is that thing?
Yeah.
So at least we've got a little bit of knowledge. 100%. Yeah, at least we've got a little bit of knowledge about what that thing is. And then, yeah, the chapters, it's kind of cool to see Dalinar figuring stuff out a little bit. Figuring out his powers, obviously, the most cool part, in my opinion. But also just kind of figuring out, like, how he can win people over, not just the same old way he has been. Because I think I've been talking about that for quite a bit during this book. It's like he needs to figure out how to do it his way, but in a way that's going to be successful. Because what he's been trying up to this point, I felt like just really wasn't working for him. And so I feel like we're at that point. He's getting to that point now. Like he's doing stuff that makes sense for him to do. And so I'm glad that we're kind of getting to that point.
Yeah, Downer's kind of finding his feet as a diplomat, maybe a little bit here, which, well, and part of it is that because you have been like he needs to figure his shit out if he's going to try to diplomacy, because you were like, we saw him try that in the last book and it didn't work, and it wasn't working at the beginning of this book. And the thing with the Stormfather and being able to bring people into visions that like gave him the foot in the door, basically. And now that he's gotten his foot in the door with these other countries, now he has to show up and actually be a diplomat, which he's still not the best at.
Yeah.
But we're seeing some growth in that here, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. No, I think it's much better. He's doing a much better job at this point, kind of figuring his stuff out. So.
Also, what you said about Kaza and that whole interlude, and like, we need to know more about this now. I'm in complete agreement. That is the kind of thing that it's like, it's just so mysterious. Even after the whole interlude is gone, you're just like, what the? Like, there's clearly some depth there that I need more of. Also,
I don't know if it's just like the storytelling mystery island element to it, but like that more than anything. And I may have mentioned this about a different interlude or a different version of or a different part of one of these stories. That to me more than anything screams like a manga storyline where it's like you could do a little comic book about that island and the sleepless and kind of like a mystery shrouding around that island and people trying to journey there. Like it just seems like it's full of storytelling potential.
Yeah, I can see that. That could be very cool comic book. Like the sleepless would look pretty freaky in a comic book. I could see that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, okay. Speaking of that interlude, that's our first. Let's get into these chapters. So yeah, we start out and we meet Kaza on the ship First Dreams, and they're going through a storm, and she's not going to go below. And we very quickly find out that she has some issues with her body. Which that makes it sound like she's not happy with how her body looks. No, her body is like partly smoke.
Yeah, this is some Cronenberg sort of shit here.
Right? Yeah. And we find out that she's a soulcaster when someone's like, hey, get the soulcaster below deck. And she's like, nope, I'm staying. So it has been mentioned before that the soulcaster is the device, but it's also what they call the people who use the device. So she's one of those. And apparently extended use of the device has very deleterious effects as it were.
And so I wanted to ask about this. Like, is this with everybody? Because we really haven't heard anything like this up to this point that I can recall.
No, I think we have, though. I think some of the soulcasters in the army, like their bodies were turning to rock or something.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just completely forgot about that. But like, I was like, whoa, using it does that to you? That's messed up.
I think it was mentioned in book 1, so this is a couple of years ago at this point, but
see, I was going to ask you guys if this had come up before, because I know it does come up. I could not remember when, and it was rock that we've seen at some other point. So the fact that Doc remembers this makes me confident that yes, we have seen it at some point. But yeah, most of the soulcasters, the devices that they have are dialed into like one or two things that they can mainly do. And that was one of the things that was like amazing about Yasna's soulcaster when they thought she had a soulcaster. It's like, oh, it can do all of the things.
Yeah. Turns out she can just do all the things, but yes.
That's what makes me think it must have been book 1, because that was when Shallan was all about finding the soulcaster, using the soulcaster, so we just heard more about them. Whereas in Words of Radiance, like, no one really gave a shit about them anymore because the main characters weren't using them.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the long-term effects of using one are that you start to turn into whatever the thing is that they do. So the one that she does is smoke, and so she is becoming smoke somehow. Like how that works physically, it seems bizarre to me. Like, how are you not bleeding to death if like a giant hole has opened in your face? But
yeah,
it's magic. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
ask the dude from Mortal Kombat.
It's true.
Oh, right. And so apparently she is on this ship, and the relationship here between her and the captain seems strange because he's like, "Hey, I paid a bunch of money to get you on board," and he's treating her kind of like a thing. And she's like, "I'm not a thing. I'm a person. I decided to be here." They have a weird relationship, but they both are after the same goal, so they're kind of aligned. And they come through this storm. It seems like a very unusual storm, and they see Aimia. Not like the main big island of Aimia that it's mentioned in here. They're like, oh, everyone knows there's nothing interesting there. This is like this smaller island that's secret and you have to go find that's part of Aimia. Which we've heard about Aimia a couple of times in that I believe we're told at some point that there was a scourging of Aimia and like it's uninhabited basically now. And we know that Axes the Collector is one kind of Aimian. Like there's Sia Aimians. I think that's Axes the Collector is a Sia Aimian, and then there's Dacian Aimians, and that's the Sleepless. So the implication there being both of these species, I guess you would call them, claim Aimia as their home or where they originated from or something like that.
But they're like different races, basically.
I mean, they seem to be. It didn't seem like Axes could change into
bunch of crabs
or something.
You know, he might.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if he could turn into a bunch of crabs, he wouldn't let himself be hung upside down for a long period of time.
Probably not.
Or get
Like
arrested.
his thing was that he could like change like his tattoos, like he could write stuff on his body by just thinking about it or something. So he can change his body in ways, but I don't think that much that we know of at least.
Yeah, these people are weird, man.
Right? Yeah, what's up with Aimia that it's developed that these sort of people are coming?
What kind of investiture is powering these Aimians, and how is it like inside of them? It's weird.
Maybe the tattoos are crabs.
Ooh.
That could just really tiny in the skin crabs.
Tattoo crabs. I like it.
Yeah.
Now you got me thinking of like
epidermal crabs.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a crab wearing like a bandana and like giving someone a tattoo.
Sure. Not really what he was saying, but sure.
No, not at all. But that's the picture that came to mind.
Do we have any fan artists who like draw some of the weird shit we say? Because I feel like that's a perfect opportunity.
Crab with bandana doing
hilarious.
a tattoo. Perfect art. Good for a t-shirt too.
Maybe a cigarette hanging out one side of the mouth,
have
you know.
and he's got to have a crab tattoo on his crab body.
Yeah, exactly.
Like his big claw is doing the tattoo, and it's got a tattoo of a crab on it.
It's got like a heart crab's tattoo or something like that.
And if you squint at the tattooed like the crab tattoo on his claw, it also has a much smaller crab tattoo on it.
Right.
Just all the way down.
Right. And Axes is the one getting tattooed in the image, and Axes has a little word bubble. Is like, can I collect you?
Interesting. It's a Spren crab tattoo artist.
Well, sure. I mean, if there's any,
I wonder if there are any crab Sprens. We haven't seen any
that
look like crabs. You'd think there would be with all the crabs on this
And
planet.
it's like everything else on the planet is crab.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the captain's like, "Ha! I told you. The new storm came from Aimia, and now we're through it, and we're gonna plunder its riches." So he's after money, is what the captain's after. Kaza is not here for riches so much as that there's rumors about something else here, that she could find a cure for her condition. And we found out from Leofor, and apparently she's run away because like the rulers of Leofor are like, "You are our property." At the very least, I assume the soulcaster that she uses is royal property or whatever. And so she was almost like a prisoner there, like a really well cared for prisoner because she has this valuable skill, but still like not allowed to leave. She was not her own boss. And now that like she's starting to turn into smoke and she's going to die within the next couple of years, she says, from this, she's decided, well, you know what? I'm going to get out there on my own and I'm going to find a way to fix this.
I mean, if I was dying in a weird magic smoke, I'd probably feel the same way. I get out on my own, do my thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there's a weird scene where she's looking out there and a sailor comes up and is like, "Hey, what's up? You know, hey, you stayed up on the deck through the storm. That's really impressive." And she's like, "What does this guy want? Like, he can see how messed up I am, right? Like, there's a giant hole in my face that actually makes it hard to eat because food keeps falling out."
That's some Two-Face shit right there.
Yeah. And the guy's trying to make conversation, and then she's just like, "So, are you wanting sex? Or no? You're younger than I am. Are you scared? You want me to pat you on the back, say it's all gonna be okay?" And he's like, it says he started to fidget. He doesn't seem very put out about this, which I feel like if somebody was like, "Why are you talking to me? Are you trying to sleep with me?" I would just like, "Okay, sorry, I'll go."
Well, you're not a sailor. This guy's a sailor.
That's true.
You know, they got a reputation.
And so the guy's like, "So the prince sent you, right?" And she's like, "Oh, you want somebody that's like got a connection to royalty." Okay. So no, I came here on my
I
own.
love that too, that she figures it out pretty fast that he wants something. She just doesn't know what it is. And then he's
Yep.
just like, "Oh yeah, I'll just tell you. You sent here by the prince?" It's like, no.
And she tells him like, "No, they locked me up. They wouldn't let me go. I did this on my own." I mean, they knew that they couldn't, like, they had to keep me happy because I could literally just turn the wall into smoke and step out, which I presume is what she did from what she's saying here. And then he asks her if it hurts, and she's like, "It is blissful. I slowly connect to the device and through it to Roshar until the day it takes me fully into its embrace." Okay, well, that's a little bit creepy, but... And then she offers to show him by turning him into smoke, and he takes off. And she's like, "Good. Finally, jeez."
She,
I guess if you're that antisocial...
well, it sounds like she hasn't really had an opportunity to develop social skills.
Yeah, that might be it. And so basically this island, she said the old name for it is Akina, or Akina. It's also called the Rock of Secrets or the Void's Playground.
Like,
But it is this hidden island.
this just sounds like tracks on a metal band album.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to go anywhere, it's what is it? The Rock of Secrets?
the Rock of Secrets.
The Devil's Playground?
I
Is
mean-
that what it was?
The Void's
Void's
Playground. They don't have a devil.
That's right, no devil.
It's like, I mean, personally, I would love to go to the Rock of Secrets, but I don't know if I would want to go to the Void's Playground.
You never know. Might be fun.
It sounds to me like a big hole. Like there's a void. There's a giant hole in the ground.
You know what? You go, bring me a brochure, and then we'll see.
You go and bring me a brochure.
What if the Grand Canyon was called the Void's Playground?
That would be a really metal name.
We are going through the big one. The Devil's Anus. Didn't know it was called that when I picked it.
No, yeah.
Uh,
That was a good name for that one, though.
yeah.
I don't know if they have a devil in their religion either, but whatever. So this island of Akina is apparently isolated by this supposedly magical storm that they've made their way through. But then once you get past that, there's like rock spikes sticking out like some 40 feet tall all around the island, keeping a boat from approaching. Which is why the captain got a hold of a soulcaster. He's like, "This is why I hauled you all the way out here. I want you to go turn those spikes into smoke so we can go through." And she instantly can tell, like, "Oh, those were soulcast here. Like, this is not some natural formation."
These rocks are not a natural formation. Which means someone put them here. It's actually...
This asteroid field isn't on the
Yeah.
And so she says she can make a hole large enough for one of their little dinghies to go through. So that's what we do. Meanwhile, the cook, a woman who looks reshy but with tattoos all over her face, basically forces everyone to eat before, getting out on that island.
So she's got tattoos too, but she's sleepless.
Yeah, I believe what we find out later is the tattoos are actually just like, they're not really tattoos. They're like the seams of the creatures on her face not fitting together all that well, but it's hidden by making them look like
Crab tattoos. See, we were right.
Yep. Well, the tattoos are the absence of crab,
Right.
if they're the seams.
That's true.
Yeah.
The absence
And
of
so
crabs. That's a good name.
Ooh,
It
absence.
just makes me think I don't have a
Good band
venereal
name.
disease. Like absence of crabs.
Yep.
Some groupie's like, "Hey, I can fix that for you."
Ew,
Whoa,
yucky.
wait, ew. No.
Oh, way.
Yeah. So, okay. They eat their lunch and they get out in the boats and they head out there, and she does her thing. She smokifies some of these big rocks, and
Smokify.
It's
Is
all
that
good.
a real verb? Come on.
no, it is now.
They did now.
I like it
now.
Exactly.
And I like, you see her having to do that same convincing, like that we've seen Shalon try to do, where the rock is like, and she's having to be like, hey, you remember what it was like to have the freedom of the air? Because she can tell these are soul casts just straight from air into rock. And she's like, I can't turn you back into air, but smoke is free like the air. Don't you remember how great that is? And the rock's like, yeah, that was good. And manages to change.
It's so funny to me that like soul casting is having a conversation with an object, convincing it to be a different object. It's like what a random like way to do a magic. It's like, hey, you remember that one time you were this thing? Wasn't that good? Wouldn't you like to be that again? Yeah, I would.
I agreed to this a while ago, kind of regret it, but the guy was like no take backsies. So.
Yeah, he cast me in a stone, and then he's like, all right, I'm out. And I'm like, oh, man.
And I think she mentions that like sometimes soul casting is convincing and sometimes it's more like ordering, but or commanding, she says. And so I guess in this case it was like a discussion.
Right. I wonder if
she also mentions that her soulcaster only has one mode, not the full 3. So I guess you can have one or you can have
she's
3.
A smoke specialist, huh?
And she like this big transformation, she can feel herself like drifting further away. Like she almost turns into smoke that time. And she's like, okay, maybe like a year or two that I gave myself was optimistic.
Could just stop soul casting.
You could, yeah. But supposedly soulcasters came from here is what she's heard, and they may have the secret to like using them safely. So that's why she's pushing to get it here.
Right.
And they can see, or rather, one of the guys is like, oh, there's gemstones just lying around on the beaches for the plucking. We're going to be so rich. Which we find out when she gets there. She's the only one to make it. There are, in fact, a bunch of gemstones just laying there. So dude was not lying. You could get real rich if you could get there. She's looking for the secret of how to avoid death by the device she loved. And she's convinced that she will find it here. Meanwhile, some people are starting to have some stomach problems. Like the captain has to move from the boat he was in to the boat she's in. And he's like, yeah, they said they're not feeling well, cowards. Well, they're not going to get any of that sweet money cake.
I like how he's just like taking it in stride. Like, yeah, they're so scared. They're not feeling well.
And then everyone else also starts not feeling well. And before you know it, she turns around like the boat has stopped and everyone has just keeled over.
It was very innocuous. I did not see it coming at all.
Yeah. And she's just like, yeah, okay, cool. They died. I'm going to go to this island.
What else is she going to do at this point?
That's true.
But her determination is impressive. She's like, huh, they're all dead. Well, I guess I'm paddling. Or rowing. That's what it's called, sorry.
She thought they were unconscious.
I thought at one point it said she like moved the captain's dead body out into the water or whatever.
Okay, so at first they're unconscious.
Yeah. Like when she's rowing in, it says like she's like, oh, none of them are conscious. That's weird. And it's not till she gets to the island. It's like, oh, they're dead. Why are they dead?
It's a couple paragraphs later when she makes it to the island that she's like, oh yeah, they're not breathing anymore. Huh. All right.
Stop breathing, huh? That's unfortunate.
And so by then she's also feeling it. She's getting sick, but she's not going to let it stop her. She throws herself out of the boat and like hands and knees crawls up onto the stone of the island. And then she just collapses like, why am I so sleepy? And then there's a weird kremling. And like seeing this weird kremling leads her down like some, she's dying. So her brain's kind of going all directions, remembering stuff from her childhood randomly here. And as she tries to force her way up, she sees like big old uncut gem hearts laying on the beach here. She's like, wow, that guy was right. No, she didn't care about that though. And then there's a voice like, I should have guessed the drug would not affect you as quickly. You're barely human anymore. And then she looks and, oh, it's the cook. Yeah, that's her tattooed face. All right. You poisoned us. And the cook says, after many warnings not to come to this place, it is rare I must guard it so aggressively. Men must not again discover this place. And Kaza's like, what, is it the gemstones or is there something else? And the cook's like, sorry, I can't tell you. Even like to sate your dying wish, because there are those who could pull secrets from your soul. and the cost would be the end of worlds.
I like how basically that was a big FU to the reader. It's like, I know she's dying, but I'm still not gonna tell you what's going on here.
Yep. So I gotta ask, like, Data, you read this before you ever read Edge Dancer, right?
I probably did, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, this would have been your first exposure to the crab people. What was your thought going through, like, if you recall, when you first read this bit?
Honestly, I do not remember my first reading of this bit at all. I think I was going through it so fast that I'm like, okay, random interludes, crab person dies, whatever. The Soulcaster thing did stick with me. Like, I have a very specific memory of the lady turning into smoke, and this is the first time, even if it's been like touched on before, this is the first time it hits you in the face with like, this is what using a Soulcaster does to you. That part I remember from my first time. That part has stuck with me. I think that the thing with she breaks into crabs, I honestly don't know if I was reading through it so quickly, because you don't get that. It's like a sentence or two, and then this interlude is over, where it actually mentions that this person turned into a pile of cremlings. I don't know if I read through it so fast that I didn't catch the fact that this person turned into a bunch of crabs, or if I was just like, huh, that's weird, don't know what to do with that, let's keep going. But
he had a very Kaza moment. It was like, huh, they're unconscious, that's weird. He was like, huh, she turned into crabs, that's weird, I guess I'm just gonna keep going.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't have a big like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, there's crab people? I don't remember thinking about them much at all.
Okay.
So yes, the cook breaks into a bunch of crabs and causes like, was that a hallucination? I mean, I am dying, so maybe. And then the Kremling starts like trying to take the Soulcaster from her. And she's like, no, I have one last thing that I'm going to do. And she like turns herself into smoke. She's like, I get to choose. So it is very sad for her. Of course, we don't know if she'd actually gotten there, if she would have found the answer she was looking for. It might have been one big like boondoggle anyway, but it's, you know, you feel for her a little bit.
That's a good word, Data. Boondoggle.
Yeah. But this is one of those interludes that's like, oh, this is one of those that it's like we're taken to some random part of the world and we see something interesting going on there. And I appreciate those just for how they expand the world. Next is Taravangian. And Taravangian is very smart today. He makes a point. He's not as smart as that one day when he created the diagram. But like, he's pretty dang smart. To the point that he's like, I got shit to do. I don't have time to waste with these stupid tests. Just let's get through this quick. But we find out later in the section, we'll address it now because we're here, is that he gets to the final question and he's like, yeah, no, I can't answer that. I'm not that smart. Anyway.
He's like, turns out I can't answer it. I just chose not to so you wouldn't mess with me.
No one anticipated that smart Taravangian could play dumber than he was to try to get around the restrictions.
Which, you know, in all factuality makes complete sense.
I mean, Taravangian's the one who set up the restrictions in the first place, and so he probably would not have guessed that he himself would want to get around the things that he put in place.
And I guess, how smart, what I want to know is how smart was smart Taravangian when he set up the smart restrictions?
Well, apparently, I think it says in here that like when he set up the restrictions, it was like an average day. Because he tells advertisers like, well, average is stupid. I'm smart now. Yeah, in fact, it's right here. He's like, the irony is that you let prohibitions instituted by my idiot self control my true self when it finally has the opportunity to come out. And they're like, but you weren't an idiot when he's like, yeah, whatever. We find out that Malata, the Dustbringer that's working with him, is actually a member of the diagram. It's not just that he found a Dustbringer in Carbranth. It's that she was already a member of the diagram, and he was like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Let's use that.
Yeah. I didn't for a second think that Taravangian would allow a Shardbearer to come into his fold if they weren't on board with what he was doing.
Probably true. But it's interesting that somebody who is on board with what he was doing was able to bond a Spren like this. Like, we don't know much about her, the kind of Spren that bonds with the Dustbringer, but they must have a different attitude towards some of this stuff.
Well, you know, Patton doesn't like him.
It's true. Yeah, he said that they like to break things or something, I think. And so, what Taravangian wants to do is he's like, bring me a copy of the diagram. He's going to like annotate it, basically. Also some music and get all the furniture out of here. Like, okay, whatever you say, man. And this is where Moral's like, okay, your room's done when they have fixed it all up. And he says, thank you, Uscritic one. Uscritic, Uscritic. I don't know. Have you been drinking salt? And Moral's like, what? And Taravangi just goes for it. And he's now sent them down a rabbit hole of like, what the hell was he talking about?
I think use critic is like a guy, right? That's what they find out.
Yeah, that it's like an adjective, but based on a guy. Like his name became an adjective or something. And so he instantly starts finding like parts, like things about the diagram that they'd missed. First off, he's like, yeah, you can't turn this into a book. It was like written all over the room. The dimensions of things, like where things are spatially might be relevant. And he instantly finds these connections that they'd missed before. So yeah, he's got some brain power going for sure.
He's going to wake up tomorrow with some hella good hand cramps.
Yeah, probably. And he thinks that day I had been a god. Today I'll be the prophet of that god. There's a moment where he takes some time to think about maybe there's a way that we can stop all but the most intelligent from being allowed to learn to read. That would accomplish so much good. It's like Vornism says men can't read, but that's just arbitrary. It's the stupid who shouldn't be allowed. He really doesn't like stupid people. When he's smart. And then it comes up on the point where he listens to them outside talking. It's like, yes, Uscritic seems to refer to Uskri, a tragic figure from a poem 1700 years ago. Drowned herself after hearing her lover had died, but it turned out he hadn't actually died and she just misunderstood. Kind of Romeo and Juliet, I guess.
That's exactly where my mind went.
And so eventually it came to just mean stupid. And she's like, I guess the salt refers to the fact that she drowned herself in the sea. I felt like that was a weak connection there, and I was like, maybe there was something else, but we never get anything else, so I guess that's probably what it was. So it was an insult, Moral says, and she's like, yes, using an obscure literary reference.
It's just like such a rabbit trail in the story for them to do. I mean, I get maybe that was his point, was to like distract them, but it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna call you this thing, and now you're gonna spend a really long time trying to figure out what it was that I said.
Yeah, right? It's so random.
The insults of the truly intelligent.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they brought in a choir of children to sing because he wanted some music.
So weird.
Like, where do they find these kids?
Yeah, they're just, out there. And so after he's done some more, work, he pops out and he says, give me a copy of the surgeon's words upon my birth. Oh, and kill those children.
And then they like stifle their singing because they hear him say it.
Yeah, they heard it.
I'm just like Dax said, where did these children come from? Aren't they in Urithiru? Are these like just random people's children? Like they found a children's choir and then the children's choir's like, wait, we're gonna die now? What's happening?
Like, do these kids have choir practice every other day or something?
I mean, the other option is that they specifically knew Taravangian might want some children to sing at some point and brought them from like Carbranth specifically for this purpose, which is equally as weird, honestly.
That's just so bizarre. Like this is where we draw the line. It's like there's all this crazy shit happening like on Roshan and everything. Why in the super secret city inhabited by the armies is there a fucking kids choir?
Moral's like, you mean stop them from singing? And he's like, yeah, whatever. Like, kill them, tell them to be quiet. I don't care.
Whichever gets them to shut the hell up. I don't care.
That's like
so
you could just
weird.
tell them to stop.
Yeah, like bro, we don't gotta kill them.
Like that like if nothing else, that would require less use of energy and resources.
Yeah, he could have just been like, stop singing. Or they can hear him apparently easily from where he is, and that would have been a much shorter conversation.
And if just like tell them to stop or to go. Like
yeah. Or even if you were gonna threaten to kill them, just tell the children, hey, stop singing or I'll kill you. And then be done with it.
Yeah.
The simplest thing is to order their deaths, obviously.
Yeah. We know smart Taravangian is jerk Taravangian, but holy shit.
Right? Yeah. I wonder why he's not allowed to make policy decisions for the country.
And he's like, kill those children. I don't care.
Just
he's doing his best at Spaceballs. Just like, remember, good is dumb.
Adrotasha just has the sheet of paper with the surgeon's words ready because apparently he asks for them all the time. And this is where she calls him out on like, you threw the test on purpose. And he tries to distract her with like, do you know about how you can use Stormlight to grow plants? And there's a whole like side thing about, yes, there's been some evidence that like plants can be grown using Stormlight instead of sunlight. But it's clearly just a pure distraction from the line of questioning
And
that she's
I
begun.
love that because I, as a reader, am getting confused. I'm like, wait, why is he talking about plants now? I'm like, oh, he's distracting her. He's distracting me, and I'm reading this. Like, it's confusing.
Yeah. And this is where he calls out. It's like, no, those were rules. These are rules that you set up for yourself. And he's like, when I was stupid. She said, when you were normal. And he says, normal is stupid. Okay, fine. I won't make any policy decisions. I will avoid ordering the murder of any further groups of melodic children. Fine? Just go away.
The melodic ones. They're just kids who are like, ding dong, ditch me. Oh, you better believe I'm fucking killing them.
It's like, let the people see my work. I don't care anymore. Just leave me alone.
Because things have gone so badly with his Dalinar plan, which was, to kill Dalinar.
Yeah, it wasn't a good plan anyway.
He's looking out for specific Dalinar related things to try to update the diagram, because that whole section has fallen through. He needs to pull out things that can help them plan for what to do next about Dalinar. And then he stops and reads the words of the surgeon, who apparently said he had the cord wrapped around his neck. The queen will know best, of course, but I regret to inform her that while he lives, your son may have diminished capacity. Perhaps this is one to keep on outer estates in favor of other heirs. Which, damn, dude, that's cold.
It's like, you are a doctor, not a policy dictator.
Yeah, I love how the surgeon felt it necessary to be like, let me make some suggestions
let me
on
tell
the
you,
royal
don't
succession.
let this idiot do anything important. I'm like, whoa, dude. why don't you check yourself at the door? Because you don't get to make that decision.
That's not a medical opinion.
Yeah, that's just a dick opinion.
And he said, it says the diminished capacity hadn't actually appeared, but just the fact, like, there was this rumor that started all the way, like, the day he was born, that has followed him his whole life, that he's, like, slower than other people.
It's unfortunate.
But now he was going to overcome that. He was going to save the world. Well, the part of the world that mattered.
Yeah.
I love the maid comes in and he's like, idiot woman. And then he asks Adrotaja and Maral, like, I don't suppose you'd execute the maid if I asked you.
Why is that his first answer to everything?
I love that. It's just like, it makes me think of, I've been rewatching Once Upon a Time, and there's like an episode where Rumpelstiltskin, who's, dagger is his downfall, he's talking to his son, and there's like a maid walking around while they're talking about the dagger and stuff. And then the next day he comes out of her house and his son's like, why do you have blood all over your boots? He's like, oh, well, the maid overheard us talking about that dagger. And his son's like, she's mute. She can't tell anybody. And, and then Rumpelstiltskin's like, yeah, but I mean, even mute people can draw a picture, right? Like, I was like, oh, geez, that's messed up.
Jesus Christ. Totally on brand for him, though.
No, yeah, it makes sense. It made me think of Winter Soldier, where like he's the what's his name is meeting with Bucky, and then the maid comes back, and he's like, "Oh man, I really wish you'd knocked first," and then he just shoots her.
Yeah. I hate that scene. I love that movie, but I hate that scene.
Yeah,
It's just like we want to make it clear that this guy's a bad guy. How do we do that? By randomly having the barely sentient assassin just come to his house for some fucking reason. Why?
Yeah, right.
Like, why didn't he go back to the lab? Anyway.
And they're like, no, we're not going to kill the maid. To damnation with you anyway. I almost have the answers. He says, we can't kill Dalinar. That time has passed. We have to support the coalition, and then we force him to step down, and I can take his place. Which I feel like Dak or someone predicted early on when Teravangian joined up that's how it would go.
Yeah, like I that's what I thought he was up to. Although interesting, it's like considering how he's calling for everyone else's death, he's just like, no, I can't kill him now. It's like the maid and the children, yeah, fucking kill them, but I can't kill the one I wanted to kill. Yeah, no, I remember making that call a while back. So yay, vindication.
But it's interesting to me that, I mean, that it's a logical. You came up with it because it's a thing that makes sense, right? He didn't have that plan until now.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like he just He just came to Urithiru just like hoping to shit that it would pan out, and it looks like it has for him.
Yeah, lucky him, I
Yeah,
guess.
that is
Yeah.
weird. It's got to be like the diagram at least led him to be like, if Dalinar starts a coalition, I need to join it. That has to be, because it feels like when he's not as smart, he just blindly does what he believes the diagram possibilities say he should do.
Yeah.
Right? He's pretty much guided by it. It's just like, oh yeah, just do that thing. I can't interpret the diagram today super well, so I'm just gonna do what it obviously says I should do.
Yeah, that tracks.
But his plan is once he takes over the coalition, they'll let him because the other leaders will see him as non-threatening, and then he'll be in a position to negotiate with Odium, and they can make an agreement. And Moral's over here like, can't we just like beat Odium? Is that an option? And Taravangian says, it like rolls his eyes, and he's like, no, duh. And Adratasia has to explain, no, this is the reason that the diagram was created. We can't beat the enemy. We have to figure out how to save whatever we can save. And Taravangian agrees. Yep, that's the only way. Dalinar would never accept this fact. Only one man would be strong enough to make that sacrifice. That's what he'd ask for, the capacity to save.
I am that one man.
So it's like, if nothing else, this is confirmation that, like, you know, we sort of had the inference before that that's what he was up to, but now we have confirmation he is not with Odium, at least. Like, he is his own agent.
I was thinking about, because was it last week we were talking about that, and you were like, we really don't know what he's up to. And I'm like, we're gonna find out soon.
Yeah.
But so yes, it says at the end, his plan is save what he could, abandon the rest. So what exactly that means, how much is savable in his brain, we don't know still. But
Save the cheerleader. That's it.
don't save the world, just the cheerleader. It's fine. Then we get the Venli one, which I feel like in some of these Venli interludes that we've had two so far, I guess, that we're supposed to kind of relate to Venli and kind of feel for her and some of the things that are happening in these, but she's kind of a jerk, and I don't like her. So it's hard for me to like feel that sympathy that I feel like the book wants us to feel.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't. I've never really felt it. Even when she was kind of sad that her sister was gone, I was kind of like, whatever.
it was kind of your fault. So
Yeah, and
you know.
in this one, she's like throwing things back at Eshonai. It's like, see what we could have done if you didn't hold us back. I'm like, dude.
Ever since we met her, she hasn't seemed like the nicest, most caring person. So
No.
So, okay. She is presenting herself with a small group from the remaining listeners as the Everstorm comes in. Ulam has told them, like, come out here and you're going to be blessed or whatever. And she thinks that she had discovered the first Void Spread. She had discovered Stormform. She had redeemed her people. So she's like, all of this is me. I did this. And today, that's when it's going to pay off finally. So there's about 2,000 surviving listeners, it says. And 9 of them have volunteered for this, including Demid, her once mate. He's like, see, Eshonai, see what we could do if you didn't hold us back? And Ulam's like, yes, okay, good, stay in the line. Ulam is the Spren. We've seen him. He's kind of a jerk also. And they're like, okay, so this storm's going to bring us power, like greater power than even Stormform, right? And Ulam's like, oh, yeah, totally. Great power. You've been chosen. Just, you have to embrace this. You have to willingly want and welcome this. And so like, okay, we'll do it. And the storm hits, and there's like a little ball of light, basically, that goes in her, and she can feel this, like, in her mind, in her soul, like this thing, let me in. And so she tries to open herself up to it. It's just like adopting a new form, right? And then as the thing tries to take her over, some other voice, an ancient paternal voice, says, choose another, this one is mine. And the thing goes away. And the storm passes, and she turns, and she has changed to a form that she doesn't recognize. She's like, this isn't storm form anymore, but it's not like nimble form either. What is this? Meanwhile, Demid and the other 8, I guess, are standing over here, and they've changed a lot also. Like, Demid is real big, tall, broad-chested, just has this very powerful look to him, eyes glowy red. And she's like, what form is that? Demid, how do you feel? And Demid ignores her and is talking to somebody else. Odium rides the very winds like the enemy once did. Aharat, is that you? And someone whose name used to be Melu is like, yes, this feels good. And Venli's like, Demid, like something's wrong. Hold on, let's find the Spren. And Demet looks at her and says, like, you knew this corpse? And she wait, what? Corpse? Why? And then Ulim shows up and he's like, oh no, oh, this is bad. Don't talk to them, Venli. Don't point at them. Just go over here. And so we find out that, these are not her friends anymore.
Nope,
Demet and Demet and the others, they are gone. Their bodies have been taken by the fused. That one that she was talking to is Hariel, one of the worst tempers of all the fused. Like, don't piss him off. And she's like, you said we were opening ourselves up to a new form, a new spren. And he's like, yeah, you were opening yourselves up to something. I didn't tell you what it was exactly. Your gods need bodies. You should be flattered.
Man, this guy is really an ass.
Yeah, right? And I mean, it would be one thing if they actually were literally volunteering, like, yes, we will give ourselves up to our gods. It's another to, like, trick them into it. That's really messed up.
Yeah, that's fucked.
And he says that she's been given another form of power. Basically, she's above the regular listeners with this cool, powerful form, but she's below the fused. So don't mess with them. And she's like, no, this isn't going to work. And she starts to walk back to be like, no, I'm going to tell them to get out and get Demet and my friends back. Like, he should know what he's choosing before this happens. And Ulim's like, back? No, he is dead. There is no back. All right?
He's just like, oh no, Demet is dead like you should be. And then, like, she's like, I'm still going to fucking talk to him. And Demet and Ulim is right up. He's going to kill you. I'm like, dude, you just tried to kill her. What dog do you have in this fight?
That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of it that way. It is messed up that he's like you should be. What did you do? Resist like that sister of yours?
Whoa. Everybody calm down.
How dare you not be dead?
Ulim is on fire as, like, king of the dicks.
Yeah. And then Hariel is like, no, hey, it's fine. Let me talk to her. And Ulid is like, bother. He's like, got a Winnie the Pooh moment. And actually, Hariel is pissed off by this. He's like, you speak like a human, Spren. Your service here was grand, but you used their ways, and I find that displeasing. And Ulim's like, oh shit, I'm out of here. Also, some of the fused are just like on the ground, smiling weirdly, like they're nuts. Which we saw in the Moash section, right? Like, apparently a lot of them are like that. Which makes it even more worthless to have given up your bodies, just like an insane person can, like, roll around on the ground. And to his credit, Hariel is over here like, I regret the death of your friend, good servant. Though you are children of traitors, your war here is to be commended. And she's like, please, like, he was precious to me. Can you return him? And the guy's like, he's passed into the blindness beyond. My soul cannot share its dwelling. Nothing can restore him now, not even act of odium. And then he tells her, you were supposed to bear a soul I have fought beside for thousands of years, and she was turned away. Odium has a purpose for you. Revel in that, and mourn not your friend's passing. Odium will bring vengeance at long last to those we fight. And so, okay.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's finding out that was Odium, who is specifically like, no, I got something in mind for her. That should be worrying, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then we see a little spren that looks like a ball of light. And she's like, hey, didn't I see one of those near Eshronai? And it, like, comes close to her. And she's like, yeah, just get away. Shoo. Or that's what she was saying before, anyway. This time she, like, covers it up and hides it from, like, the fused. And he says, ready yourself to be carried. We must travel to Alathella. And that's the end of our interludes. So yeah, Venli is in way over her head. It's unfortunate that she apparently, like, she claims that she was kind of masterminded a lot of this. Like, I found the first Void Spren, I, like, got a storm form and all this stuff. She apparently had no idea what she was getting into with any of that, even if she thought she did.
Well, I think she said at some points, like, Ulim was the Spren that she found. Like, and he's the one who kickstarted all this. So you've just been dancing like a puppet on Ulim's strings for all this time.
How embarrassing is that, right?
Yeah.
Spren played you, girl.
Now your sister and your boyfriend are dead.
It's true.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
Nope. Oh, now I need to swap between part 1 and part 2.
Oh, this is where did you have this image, the folio of Thalen fashion at the end of part 1 or at the beginning of part 2?
That is at the start of part 2. Book 2. Novel 2. What do you want?
I don't remember if we've actually seen an illustration of a Thalen before. We've heard about their long eyebrows, but I don't know if we've seen them before now. But that's the thing that interests me most in this image is you see what their long eyebrows kind of look
Yeah,
like.
and I'd be interested to get your take, Dak, because when I was talking to Data before the show, I was like, yeah, this illustration, I don't know, something about the design of it just seems way different than other illustrations we've had in the book. So I didn't know if you had that same take or kind of what you thought about it.
Yeah, the art style does seem a bit different, but I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like the writing down the bottom still seems to be Naz's handwriting, but
Yeah.
the
Well,
actual
it makes it
the way
seem
the
like,
woman's face is drawn.
yeah, and to me it makes it seem like maybe because it says it's like a fashion thing, so maybe it's like he cut this out of some kind of uh you know print that
Catalog.
they have there, and that's why it looks kind of different because it's supposed to be in the style of their like art or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of it or what the relevance is, really.
We've seen another outtake from like a fashion folio before that like Adolin was looking through, but yeah, I feel like it's just some more world. Like here's what some stuff looks like in different areas.
Yeah, I get the
More
sense,
world
and
building.
maybe I'm wrong, but I get the sense that like Shallan kind of surprised a lot of the Alethi with like her art abilities. I don't feel like art is something that's super important in the Alethi culture. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but like their art style just seems kind of primitive.
This I had to look it up. This illustration is by Dan Dos Santos, who has done several illustrations for various Brandon works, including this image that you guys may remember from Warbreaker. Let me put that in the chat, which is one of my favorites of his. Is the Warbreaker image that was he did the cover of Warbreaker 2 that was like a woman with like rainbow stuff coming out.
Oh yeah. This is a super cool picture.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Also, they did a series of images of the heralds. You guys maybe even seen it because I got the cards and put them on Instagram. But he did it was like several different artists that did the herald images, and he did two of them. So he did that one of Ishar and this one of Shalash. So he does some cool art.
It's interesting.
Neat.
Sorry, this is an audio podcast, but you heard the artist's name if you want to look at the pictures we're looking at.
Yeah. If you go out to the Coppermind and search for Dan Dos Santos, it'll show like pretty much all the art that he's done for Brandon. So
I mean, you could do this for the Instagram post when this episode goes up.
also true, yeah. Here's the Dan Dos Santos art that we talked about. But yeah, so interesting little picture. Seeing some Thalens.
Yeah.
Now we have some new epigraphs. Now that we finished the letters from part 2, and both of the epigraphs we get here are from like the first one is from drawer 29-5 and is a topaz.
Yeah, so that's got to be the library that they discovered. Like these are recordings off of these stones from the library.
Yeah, that would seem to me to be the case,
Yeah.
for sure. And so the first one says, as a stone ward, I spent my entire life looking to sacrifice myself. I secretly worry that is the cowardly way, the easy way out. And I want the stone ward, I want to see their oaths because that seems messed up. Like, just looking to sacrifice myself, you know?
Is that one of the orders that we hadn't heard of before now? Because that word is not familiar to me.
I feel like by now we've heard of all of the orders, but I don't think that one has come up much. Now, hold on. Now I'm going to go back to Words of Radiance and see if, because in the in-universe book, Words of Radiance, there was lots of mentions, small mentions of the various.
Yeah, well, because I think the start of this book, like there was an episode. It was Joe and I. We were trying to name all the ones we've heard of, and 7 or 8 of them.
Yep. So, okay, yes, there was one mention in Words of Radiance. It says, now, as each order was thus matched to the nature and temperament of the herald it named patron, there was none more archetypal of this than the Stone Wards, who followed after Talenalot Ilin Stone Sinew, Herald of War.
Oh, okay.
They thought it a point of virtue to exemplify resolve, strength, and dependability.
No memory of
There you go.
that name. There you go.
I mean,
oh, well.
yeah, it's such a brief mention there. So we're at Urithiru, and Dalinor's looking up at the clouds and the cliff here that just seems to go on forever. And he's just kind of thinking about stuff like, man, Navani scribes can measure the height using air somehow? How does that even work? And then thinks, man, you've grown contemplative, whatever, in your old age. And he gets on the Oathgate platform, and they are heading, or I'm sorry, they're not heading to Thelana yet. First, we're going to bring Kaladin here. And they have a discussion about that odium thing in the vision he saw, and Navani's like, maybe it was just like, fake, like another thing that Honor left behind for you. And he's like, it felt pretty damn real. We got Malata, Taravangian Surgebinder is here to help unlock this Oath Gate from this side. And then we have that guard. You guys may remember that guard from a previous section where he was kind of sassy.
he's obviously gotten a talking to.
Yep.
This guy.
He says, wouldn't want to be reported for being disrespectful, sir. And Dalinor's like, I didn't mention you by name. And the guy's like, everyone knew who you were talking about anyway. And Dalinor goes like, yeah, imagine that.
This fucking guy.
They have a discussion about his flask, which he doesn't have, he doesn't have alcohol in his canteen. It's in his flask, which is in his pocket, and he's not going to find it till after his. So
I do love that, like, Navani's like, we could just get somebody else. He's like, I kind of like that guy.
Right? That's a great moment. Yeah. He reminds me of some of my old friends. It's great.
You mean from the time that you were, not a great person you're trying to move on from?
Yeah, I almost got Hoyd vibes from this guy on the first go round, but now I don't know.
He strikes me more as a Wayne type.
Yeah. I mean, I could see getting Hoyd vibes because not many people are willing to talk to Dalinar.
Right,
like that,
exactly.
But,
that's kind of
I guess.
Yeah, all right. Fair. Good point. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, it's like all these people are talking to basically the guy who is more powerful than the Alethi king.
Yep. But, I feel like that's a good reason to keep him around. Like, you don't want a bunch of yes men who will just respect you too much necessarily. Have a guy around who's going to be like, like tell it like it is. All right, the Oath Gate turns on, and Shallan and Kaladin are back. They did that thing that he was planning where they rode the storm and made it to Thelana and turned on the Oath Gate there. And Shallan didn't die or anything, so it worked out. Dalinar says, like, okay, so flying in front of the high storm with other people, how'd it go? And Kaladin's like, yep, no problem. I'm confident it will work. So next storm, they're going to head for Kholinar. Meanwhile, Kaladin tells Dalinar the queen is prepared to meet you on the other side, so they're waiting on you. And then as they part, he's like, oh, by the way, when you fly over this particular part of Alethkar, take a look out, give him a wave. The Parchment might have conquered that area by now, but actually it belongs to you. And Kaladin's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, you're fourth Dawn because you're a shard bearer. It should be a landed title, so Elhokar found you a nice little piece of land that reverted to the crown last year. It's not huge, but it's yours now. And he's like, oh, what? Are there like villages there? And he's like, oh yeah, 6 or 7. One town of note.
Kaladin's just like, ugh, I did not want to deal with this shit.
Yeah, he says that. He's like, I didn't want this burden. And he's like, yeah, well, if you wanted a life without burdens, you shouldn't have said the oaths.
I love that comeback from Dalinar. It's like, dude, you're not radiant. You burdens are your life now. Deal with it.
Yeah.
He's like, nobody made you do this shit.
Yeah.
So,
At the same time, I will say for Kaladin, on Kaladin's side, like, yeah, Knight Radiant doesn't have to be what your society has now made like shard bearers. Like that's not
true.
That's not the same thing. We're talking about two different things.
Well, it's not like he's presenting land to like Malata or Shallan or anything either. I feel like Kaladin may just be like a special case.
Well, I think it's in payment of services rendered because Kaladin has saved his life on multiple occasions.
Sure.
Oh yeah, and Elhokar's for
that's
that
true.
matter.
Elhokar likes Kaladin a lot, but at the same time, it's like if he doesn't want it, why are you making him take it? Like,
yeah, yep.
Like just don't give it to him.
And Dalinar's like, find a good steward, some wise scribes, a few solid men, light-eyed guys to lead everything, and you don't have to worry about it.
He's like, that's just a pain in my ass. Like, why are you doing this to me?
You know what? He could have even Dalinar is about to not be Alethi anymore. He's about to be Urithiran.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll use that. So he could have just said, "All right, you can be my first lord in Urithiran society, where we don't have to worry about that sort of shit, and you can just be my right hand guy."
Right. What was the name of dickhead that is in charge of his village?
Oh, Roshon.
Yeah.
I almost said Roshar.
Oh,
Roshon.
Yeah, that's who Cal should get. He's like, hey, Roshon, remember I punched you in the face? You want to be like in charge of my new lands or something? Or
that was Sadius territory technically,
yeah.
So they couldn't give him that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could have. They would just say, hey, Amaram, now that you're Lord Sadius, like I've got a landowner here that needs to report to you. Who is it? Kaladin's like, hi.
Kaladin does not want to be under Amaram. I don't think that would go well.
But then it's like, Dalinar could just phrase it as, "Now you're in the perfect position to just keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't fuck it up."
Maybe. Okay.
Kaladin, hey, you want
I can see that.
to be the thorn in this guy's side? Boy, howdy do I.
And speaking of, having villages, Kaladin's like, my family is in the north of Alethkar. Now that I know that I can fly people, I want to go get them after I come back from Kholinar. And Dalinar's just like, dude, if you get that oath gate open, I don't give a shit. You do what you want. Like, if we can take back like Kholinar and we have Alethkar, you can have as long a vacation as you want.
Do whatever you want, he says, which is totally gonna be bullshit later. He's just gonna be like, "Oh, well, I need you to do this. I need you to do this." He's like, "What about my vacation?"
We got Relis Ruthar is back in Alethkar and trying to lead the in-country forces. We saw Relis. That was the guy that Adolin dueled back in the day, who got sent home to Alethkar in disgrace after he lost all of their shards in the 4-on-1 duel.
Is he the one who ran screaming from the arena?
He was.
Yeah, that guy.
Good dude.
But now he's been pushed back towards Herdaz. And so I'm like, they're going to like attack the Herdazians, aren't they? Just be like, we need some room. Get out of our way. Because that's what the Alethi do.
We're at war. All right. Now the first rule in war is kill the Herdazians first. What?
Yeah, right.
So, we're at war. What does that mean? It means we need to start another war, so we have room for this war.
Yeah. It's like, we're at war. Kill the Herdazians. We're not at war with the Herdazians. We're at war. Of course we're at war with the Herdazians. What?
It always goes. Don't you understand?
And like, speaking of all of like being in charge of various things here, it's like Elhokar and Adolin, when they come back, we're going to work out this High King thing, and Adolin's going to become High Prince. I wonder who that means. Like, if Dalinar is king of Urithiru, like, how does the succession work for that, do you think? Like, is Adolin next in line for that? Or do you need to be a bondsmith specifically to be the king of Urithiru, or at least a Radiant?
Well, I mean, if Adolin takes over as High Prince, then technically any children he would have with Shallan would be his heirs. So maybe they could take Renarin as a Radiant, and he could be Dalinar's heir, and like have the lines of succession go like that.
That would make more sense, I feel like. That's a good call. Because it would feel weird to me to have, like, this is the Tower of the Radiants. Let's have a non-Radiant as in charge. But yeah, having Renarin kind of scoots around that pitfall. Assuming he wants to be king of anything.
Well,
we don't know him all that well.
As we just saw with Kaladin, like, wanting it doesn't seem to be a factor.
Yeah, okay, fair, yeah. So they send him to Thaylen City, and Queen Fen is waiting there for him. And he's finally seeing, like, she's been telling him for a while, like, my city has been trashed by this storm. I am working on fixing my shit. Leave me alone. And now he sees, for the first time with his own eyes, just how messed up the city is. It is bad. There's no protection from the west, and the Everstorm is just trashed all half the city, basically. Even their famous docks that were out beyond their only fortification, and they're gone, basically. And he's like, oh man, I'm sorry. And she says, we lived in luxury too long, it seems. I remember worrying as a child, everyone in other countries would discover how nice it was here, and we'd be swarmed with immigrants. I guess now it's not nice anymore. Also, Taravangian came along. I kind of forgot to mention that, but he's here too. And the chapter ends with Fen being like, well, let's do the tour. I think there's a few places worth seeing still standing. And then we get to our last chapter, Bondsmith. And I love this one because it just seems so... if this is to be permanent, the epigraph says, then I wish to leave a record of my husband and children. And she just like says their names. And I was like, do we really take a stone in the library to be like, I want to tell you what my husband and children are called?
Yeah, it's like the beginning of Wheel of Fortune. Where it's like, I want to say hi to my beautiful wife and my lovely children.
And so they're doing a tour of the temples. When we get here, Fen is like, here's the temple of Shalash. It used to be super nice. Not as nice now. The roof is leaking. And Dalinar's getting bored. And Navani has to be like, dude, stop scowling. I'm not scowling. You're bored. I'm not scowling. And so they've been
It's
going...
like I am bored. You're right. But I'm not scowling.
Yeah. All right, I can't lie to you.
Yeah, you're my wife now, I guess. Yeah, but I'm bored.
And he's over here like, geez, how many fucking temples do we have to visit, man?
Temples. Didn't you hear? I don't even believe in God anymore, bro.
And she says, like, look, the tour of like all of the temples is like the traditional Thalen City thing. Visiting all 10 allows you to see the whole royal ward and shows you how pious they are.
10.
So I guess since this was the Temple of Shalash, it must be like each of the 10 heralds gets a temple. And he's just like, okay, yeah, that's great and all, but do we really need like all this pomp and stuff? And she goes, if this stuff really bothers you, we could have sent an actual diplomat. He goes, I am a diplomat. This is my duty now. I have to do it.
Well, not with that attitude, it isn't.
Right? Well, then stop scowling. And they get to the Temple of Bata, one of the oldest in the city. And of course, the greatest sight here is the simulacrum of Paralet, the grand statue that... Oh, right. Like, the only thing left is the feet. It's like, oh, damn it.
Some big-ass feet.
And she's like, he's like, oh, he's trying to... Now that Navani has called him on it, he's trying to be interested. Like, oh, no, yeah, let's look at this temple. You said it's one of the oldest? Which one is older? Like, only Ishi's temple is more ancient, but we won't linger there. And basically, they filled this temple with the wounded because they ran out of room in the hospitals. And that's why we're not going to linger at these temples. They're full of, like, hurt and dying people. And Taravangian is like, oh my gosh, please, my surgeons are in Vedinar. They can come through the Oath Gate easily. Let me help. And Ven is like, you know what? Okay. We would appreciate that. And so Taravangian's like, I'm going to stay here, wait for my surgeons to show up. And he's like tearing up a little bit over here, like, you know, the horror of war, or not even war. It's like the Everstorm, what that's done. And Dalinar sees how affected he is. He's like, hey, we're going to protect them, Taravangian. I vow it. And he's like, yeah, I believe you, Blackthorn. I'm going to wait here for my surgeons. Okay.
Like, something that pops up here, something Taravangian says, sticks out to me because Venli said it in hers as well. It's like, Taravangian's like, what must I do to preserve them? And Venli's like, I've been preserved. Now, it's not capitalized, and we know that preservation's, you know, gone by this point. But even so, I'm just like, people are using that word a lot lately.
That is interesting. I hadn't noticed that.
I was wondering, it's like, it's not capitalized, so it might just be a coincidence, but it sticks out to me.
Yeah, I can see why. That's interesting. And so Dalinar, like Fen talks about how everything is, you know, destroyed, and we're going to try to fix this, but it's just everything is real bad right now. And Dalinar's like, my armies could come and clear up rubble, move stone, help rebuild. Just give the word. And she does not say anything to that. And then he spots her son, and he can tell that this guy does not like him. And then she's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't visit the Temple of Ishi. And he's like, well, I'd like to see the famous Grand Bazaar. And everyone like makes a face. And he's like, oh, that was by the docks. Huh?
He's like such a put your foot in your mouth moment. It's like,
yep.
He's just like, I'd really like to. This like, there's like the one thing I want to see. Oh yeah, it's gone.
Mm. Here's the new. I got you a present. It's a book. I'll read it to you. It's called Diplomacy for Dummies. And step 1: don't point out things people are upset about.
Well, and he continues to not be terribly diplomatic. Like after she leaves, she's like, hey, there's refreshments. I'll be back in a little bit. And he's like just talking about how he doesn't like the government of Thelana and how it works because she's queen, but she doesn't have like absolute authority. She has to have this council like sign off on things. And how ridiculous is that, right? But he has an idea. They want to see the Blackthorn? All right, let's give them a show. I'm going to give them a lesson, a display. And then he's like, wait a second, that sounds familiar. Something fuzzy in his memory. Something to do with the Rift and Sadius? Whatever. And so he goes up to Fen's kid and says, hey, you, Captain Lord, enough of this crap. Show me the city walls. I want to see something really interesting. And dude's like, what, you really think that I'm going to show you, like, let you spy on our defenses, an enemy general? He's like, I'm not your enemy, son. And he goes, I'm not your son, tyrant.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. And Dalinar's like, you know what? You've been talking shit all day, and I've chosen not to hear it. And the guy claps back. He's like, I regret only that I didn't speak loudly enough for you to hear the insults, despot. And so they decide they're going to have a duel. No shards, just swords. All right. And I like Navani's over here like, don't hurt him, but also don't lose. And Dalinar's like, well, I'm not going to hurt him. I can't promise the losing thing, but we'll see. And so they're supposed to have long swords. They step into the ring, and Dalinar's got nothing. And the guy's like, where's your sword? And he says, we'll do this by alternating advantage. 3 minutes to first blood, you lead off. So basically that means alternating advantage is one guy gets to be armed, the other guy has nothing for 3 minutes, and then they trade. And we're going to first blood. And he thinks it's a ridiculous imbalance. Like, usually you'd only see this in practice, never with real weapons, but here we go. And the guy is like, I was like, I can switch to a knife or something. And he's like, no, we agreed on longswords. Longsword's good. Let's do it. And I like this guy. He's like, you know what? I'd love to beat the Blackthorn on even terms, but I'll take an unfair fight. As long as when I kill you, you promise nobody here is going to claim that I'm an assassinate, that it was an assassination. You set the terms. And Dalinor's like, yeah. And so they start, and basically he's kind of using a little Stormlight to dodge better. But I don't know that he's using much of it, honestly. It's just like, he's just really good at this. He makes sure that he's not drawing it enough so that people can see the glow of it. And as he's dodging all the strikes, the 3-minute timer is counting down. And Kid realizes that if this goes on much longer, he's going to be on the other side of this, and it's not going to go well. So he kind of, when there's 10 seconds left, he makes like this all-out, last-ditch effort to get him. And Dalinor just stands there, puts his hands out to his side, and lets the guy put the sword through his chest.
If you strike me
And of
down,
course,
I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
I mean, that would have been a good line. Brandon might get in trouble
done.
for stealing from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah.
Yeah, it was done in 1977.
And so the kid is surprised that he actually managed to hit him, let alone like a killing blow, essentially. And I love it's like Dalinar coughed, spat blood to the side, and then shoved the sword further through his chest. And he goes, "That was a good thrust," he says, voice watery and ragged. "I can see how worried you were at the end. Others might have let their form suffer." And then he just pulls the sword out of his chest and heals with Stormlight. And the kid's like, "It's your turn. I'm ready." And he goes, "No, it was to first blood. You got me." And the guy's like, "Well, you let me." And Dalinar says, "Give me your shirt and we'll call it even, because you messed up my shirt. I don't want your life. I don't want your kingdom. If I wanted to conquer you, I would not offer you a smiling face and promises of peace. You should know that much for my reputation." And he thinks it later, but this really is very similar to when he just like beat the shit out of Elokar to prove if I wanted to kill you, I would have done it. It's a little bit different in that he didn't beat this kid up, but it's really not all that different.
Yeah, end result is the same.
And he feels it. He's like, he doesn't feel good about what he just did. He's kind of ashamed about how he accomplished this. Like, he won the kid over, but he doesn't like the way it happened. And then he can even feel the Stormfather. He feels like disappointment from him. And he thinks, is this what it should feel like when the Knights Radiant come to your city? That they're like, I'm stronger than you. I could crush you without even worrying about it. Like, is that what we want people thinking about us? It's just like what I did to Elokar. It's just like when I forced Kadash to fight me in the practice ring. And he hears that voice in the back of his mind saying, unite them. And then he hears another voice saying, unite us, please. 100 different voices. The stones of the temple itself. And then he kind of just gets this idea. It almost comes out of nowhere that he picks up these rocks and is trying to shove. It's like an art thing. I forget what it's even called, but it's like a tableau made out of stone on this temple. And he starts picking the pieces up and shoving them back into place. And Stormlight is glowing. And suddenly it's like he fixed it. It's back together the way that it was supposed to be. And Navani's like, holy crap, what did you do? And he says, I listened. And then he tells the guy who wrote for, or the, not guy, it's not me, a guy, the woman who wrote to get the surgeons here, he says, send for my son Renarin. And by the time the queen comes back, she finds them in the courtyard with that giant broken statue. And Dalinar has a bunch of guys helping. Like, there's a crew of men with ropes lifting the pieces of the statue back into place. Some guy's like, I think I found the left arm. It like fell through the roof of a mansion somewhere. And he's fixing it with his power. And she goes, I did not expect this, to find the Blackthorn shirtless and playing sculptor.
I love, it's real Harry Potter moment. He's like, just like, Reparo! All right, it's back together. Sweet.
Yeah, kinda.
I'm a builder now.
I like the line, he's like, I can only fix inanimate things. My son does the more important work. And Renarin is in the temple healing all of these hurt people.
I forgot Renarin could do that.
Yeah. we haven't seen that much of Renarin is the thing, so it's easy to forget, right?
Well, we've definitely been getting more of him this book than the last two, but yeah, even so, it's like we need more Renarin. When the other characters are on screen, they should be asking, "Where's Renarin?"
Yeah. Oh, that's
one.
good. Oh, I love that one.
Nice.
I know this begs the question, like, can Renarin have squires? If so, can they heal people? Because that'd be pretty useful.
That would be super useful.
Right? This is a good question. I don't know that he has anyone close enough to him to like become his squires. Because I feel like there's a relationship there between Kaladin and the people who are his squires.
Well, sort of, and then like the randos who just decided we want to join Bridge Force specifically to be the squires. All right, you have the powers
that's
now.
True. I wonder if maybe there was an element to that they were kind of ignoring when trying to teach everyone to draw in Stormlight. Maybe having a relationship to the Radiant was important, and it wasn't until he started to get to know some of them better that it kind of worked. There's no mention of that. It's just something this discussion makes me wonder. Dalinar mentions that Renarin can best heal those who are recently wounded. Once the soul grows accustomed to the wound, it is much harder to fix. And she's like, I see you've charmed my son as well. His name is Kdralk. Kdralk. That's I don't.
Yeah.
Why, Brandon?
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I mean, we've seen other Thalens with like that kind of name. It's just anyway. She's like, I see you've charmed him as well. And Dalinar's like, yeah, he's a good lad. And she goes, he was determined to find a way to duel you. I hear you gave him that. Are you going to roll over the whole city, charming people one at a time? And he's like, hopefully not. It sounds like that would take a while. And so he goes, Fen, I need your help. And her summary is basically like, why? What do you need from me? And he goes, I need someone who thinks differently from me and my people. We all think like Alethi. I need other people to have the other ideas that we don't have. And she says that I've already talked to the council about giving you aid in your war effort. We opened the gate. What else do you want? And he says, no, I want you to join me. And she goes, what is the difference? And he says, the difference is referring to it as your war instead of our war. And she goes, okay, fine. You, me, Taravangian, the first real united Vorin coalition the world has seen since the hierarchy. Let's do this thing. And then we're like, okay, awesome. Next, we focus on the Azish, which she says, that's going to be tricky. And he goes, okay, do you have any suggestions? And she says, I don't think you're going to find it appealing. He's like, oh, try me. I'm starting to appreciate the way that I usually do things has severe limitations. And that's the end of our chapter. So what that will be, who knows? Maybe that's a subject for predicaments, but that is where we leave it. For the next, we'll move into predicaments, speaking of, and so I will get the chapter titles. Give me 1 second here. For the next segment, we're going to read 5 more chapters. So 60 through 64, and those titles are Winds and Oaths is chapter 60. Nightmare Made Manifest is chapter 61. Chapter 62 is Research. 63 is Within the Mirror. And 64 is Binder of Gods. So what do you guys think? Where are we going? What's going to happen? If you have any theories about the chapter titles, feel free. But I know that those can be very hard. So
well, Winds and Oaths, that's an easy Kaladin. In the Mirror, easy Shallan, and Binder of Gods, easy Dalinar. It was just those three and Adolin are the perspective characters this section, yeah?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, don't know. Don't know what to make of what's actually going to happen in those chapters. But as far as predictions for what's coming up, I've been thinking a lot about the mission to Kholinar and just how hard they're hammering on not only this is coming up, but also, hey, after this is done, we'll be able to talk about all these other things. So straight away, that sets my alarm bells off for, okay, what's going to go wrong in Kholinar? Something's going to go horribly wrong. Because it seems like from the end of the Venli interlude, we're probably going to get the Fused showing up there as well. Because they said they're going to Alethala, which is just their name for Alethkar, I would assume.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks as though we're going to have like a bit of a nasty confrontation in there. We already know Moash is headed there, as well as Kaladin and Elhokar. So, I get I get the feeling something's going to go horribly wrong, and like it's an easy thing to claim. Okay, Kaladin is going to meet Moash. Moash is going to see Kaladin and Elhokar together and lose his mind. So I feel like someone's not coming back from Kolinar when we go through.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like something's going to go wrong, whether or not they like one of our protagonists or like the people we like is going to meet their ends either at the hands of Moash or the Fused. And I'm trying to pick who that might be. I don't think Kaladin, and I think Elhokar is too obvious. So I'm gonna put my money on maybe. Let's take a big swing here and say maybe Adelin's not going to make it out alive.
Oh man, before the wedding? Ouch.
Yeah. No, I just feel like for like Kaladin is probably the closest thing we have to like the main hero of the book so far. Dalinar running a close second. So I'd say Kaladin's going to make it out alive. And yeah, I think like it's Moash killing Elhokar. Like he's already tried to do that before. He probably try to do it again. And maybe that's the end goal here, but I feel like it's too obvious to just have that drop in. So
okay,
let's go for like the more subversive one. A big shock would be losing Adolin because we like Adolin. He's come a long way. Maybe as he dies, he reveals that he killed Sadeas. That could be a hell of a thing.
That could be very dramatic. Yeah.
But just because like that's the unexpected factor, but it could really play into like that would give Dalinar something to mourn. Like Kaladin was finally starting to open up to him. Maybe that's it. Maybe Adolin sacrifices himself to save Kaladin from Moash. Like he takes the blow. So yeah, just a wild swing. It was like it's either that or someone else in Bridge 4, and I'm like, I don't think that's gonna quite give us like the gut punch that losing a main like a lead character would do. So yeah, let's say Adolin. I don't think he's gonna make it out.
Yeah, a Bridge 4 person, or
like it would be tragic, but it wouldn't be quite as traumatic.
Yeah, I was gonna say Shallan mentioned maybe bringing some of her people. So if she brought like Gaz along and Gaz died, like that wouldn't be,
I mean,
oh no.
I mean, yeah, like Gaz's redemption arc would involve taking out Moash, so I'd be, fine with that. But yeah, no, it's just yeah, we'll make that call here.
That is a bold call. I like that. Okay. I mean, it would be sad, but I can see why you're like, this is a possibility, a little twisty possibility that like, so what? Okay. So Aelin's gone. Dalinar is in mourning, obviously. Renarin, I guess, maybe gets more prevalence in the story because now he's the remaining son of the Blackthorn.
We know Renarin has issues because people don't think he's a worthy heir. Even Sadeas thought Adolin was like the perfect Alethi heir, even though Adolin was an inherently nice guy. So like for Renarin to pick up the slack as the new heir, people would feel like, that guy? Really? I mean, like we saw in Taravangian, even the Doctor himself couldn't resist just going, yeah, this guy's not fit to be heir. So like, that's a serious thing in these societies.
For sure. Yeah, no, you're right. So that could be some very interesting character stuff for Renarin there. I'm just trying to think how are all of our characters affected? What happens with Shallan? Do we go back to like a Shallan Kaladin potential romance if her husband to be is dead? Or
I really don't want to think about a romance for her. I think she needs to mourn.
Yeah, no, it's probably a good call.
As for her position in society, I guess, like Yasna's still here, so she can still fall back on she is Yasna's ward and still in the thick of the action that way. Plus, she's a Knight Radiant. Dalinar's not just going to be like, all right, well, you got nothing tying you here. See ya. But, yeah, no, it's a crazy time.
See, if this was Game of Thrones, they would immediately turn around and try to marry her off to like Renarin or something, and it would be super awkward. I don't know that makes as much sense here.
Yeah, well, I mean, probably the opposite, in fact, because we've seen, Navani was married to Gavilar and then turned around and married the brother, and everyone's like, no. Like, I know
that's true. It might be different if you didn't actually get married, but maybe not. That's a fair point.
It might, but there still might be a stigma attached to it, especially considering that Dalinar was the prospective father-in-law at the time and would be again. So yeah people might just think, I don't like that.
Okay. That I don't want to lose Adolin, but that would definitely lead to some interesting story points for a lot of people. So I like this idea.
I don't want to lose him either. I think I've said before, my opinion on Adolin turned around a lot over the course of book 2, and now he's one of my favorites of the series. So I don't want to lose him, but
That's when Brandon kills them, is when
Yeah.
they're your favorite.
and it's just like, of all the characters, because he's the only one who's not bonded to a Spren and isn't like a Radiant. He's not a Radiant, he's just a Shard Bearer. I'm just like, what purpose are you serving in the story at the moment? Are you, because he doesn't have the magic powers that the others do, so, but he's not exactly like the everyman either, because he does have the powers of the shards at least. So
It's true.
yeah, what purpose is he going to serve narratively going forward? I don't know. I don't want to lose him. He's a great guy, but I could see narratively losing him over Shallan or Kaladin.
No, yeah, that is. There's so much potential there that I don't want it to. I don't want it to be true, and yet it would be very interesting. So okay, I like this a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, we've got a lot of potential things. I liked a lot of what Dax said. If there's a dramatic death in Kholinar, that would be quite a turn. And like, I also don't know, like, is the rest of the book going to be in Kholinar, or just like, we've got quite a bit of book to go, so there's quite a few things.
Yeah.
I don't think Kholinar is the be all end all. So where is the be all end all? I'm gonna stick.
We are 48% of the way through the book right now, so about half the book.
I'm gonna
left.
stick with my previous predictions that Moash is gonna become kind of what Jaymee had said. It's like he's gonna possibly become the champion for these peeps for Parshendi. In that, I think he's going to still have his grudge against Elhokar, especially since he's having these like thoughts in the back of his mind. It's like, it's not your fault. It's everybody else's fault, right? That's going to kind of continue to push forward his thinking of like, yeah, I gotta take care of business. I gotta do what I gotta do to get through, get by, do my thing. So that's going to involve him doing something when the battle kicks off. Because if Elhokar's there, if Kaladin's there, potentially there's going to be some kind of conflict between those three people. It makes sense. So as far as where we're going with the other characters, Dalinar's doing his diplomat thing. If Shallan goes to Kholinar, I'm not sure what her part is going to be. Is she going to try to slip away and go her own way, or is she going to find herself in being a part of that team? I think both of those are good possibilities. So I'm excited to see kind of like how that plays out.
That's an interesting point. Shallan decided to go with Elhokar to get away from Yasna. So yeah, what does that mean for her when we actually get there? Like, what does she want out of this trip other than just not being bossed around by Yasna? So it will be interesting to see how she goes with this, what she decides to do. That's And I also can't argue with this thought that it's like, yeah, there's got to be some sort of conflict between. We're putting these characters who have reason, they have beef, as it were, all in the same place. It would be kind of disappointing if there wasn't some sort of moment where they meet up and there's this conflict, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. Let's do one email today. I don't want to run us too long again. Last episode was real long. We have several emails, but let's just do one quick one today, and then we will wrap up for this time. We'll do one quick email. This one is from Julia, and Julia says, previously, Julia had sent us an email back in April that said, see you in a couple of months, about how she was catching up. So now, in August, we get, I'm back. She says, I've read Rhythm of War, the first 3 books of Mistborn Era 2, and Secret History, so I can finally listen again. I missed you all dearly and can't wait to hear how much everyone loved Wax being Alrian's descendant. Wasing to the time of next, Julia.
Wait, did you say the first 3 books of Era 2?
That's what she said.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
as we've learned, spoilers abound.
Yeah, Julia's going to come back in a week and be like, damn it, the first episode of Way of Kings spoiled the last book of Mistborn for me. How dare you? But I'm glad that you are pretty much caught up, Julia, and that you're getting to listen again. By the time you get here, it'll probably be much later still than the last time, where you were when you sent this email, if you're just starting to listen to like Mistborn Era 2 or whatever. But appreciate you being so excited. Like, what's that? June, July, like 4 months later to jump back and be like, I can listen again. I love that you didn't forget us in that intervening time. So thank you. Okay, like I said, we have a few more emails. We'll save those for next time. If you'd like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Patreon, where I'm still posting my reactions to Wind and Truth as I read it for the first time. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Thanks to everybody, all of our patrons. You guys are awesome. All the people on the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, there's a link on our website, www.thesanderlanch.com. So you can join that there. Thank you to all the people who just show up and hang out with us every week and listen to us go through these books. It is a lot of fun, and we appreciate you. So remember, we're doing 5 more chapters for next time. So if you're following along, read chapter 60 through 64 to stay up with us. Music by Miracle of Sound, and Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs ahoy!
Coronas wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel a heart raging, of a strength unseen, unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn.